The rave scene became my life. The people, the excitement, the flashing, the laser lights, all of those things, I just became very much enslaved to. As a young child, I didn't have any acknowledgement of God. I had heard of God before, but I didn't know God. As I was getting older, I wanted to fit in. And so to make new friends, I would do pretty much anything to be accepted or to fit in. And by the age of 10, I was stealing my parents' cigarettes. By the age of 11, I started smoking pot. By the age of 12, I was stealing Xanax and pills. 13 came along and I tried acid for the very first time. So it was always on to the next big drug. By the time I was 15, I was using cocaine on a regular basis. 16 came along and I was introduced to ecstasy. 17 went to crystal meth. And then if I couldn't get crystal meth, crack cocaine was always available, so I started smoking crack. I always felt like a misfit and like I was always searching for something. When the rave scene came into my life, I felt like that was it. I went out probably 4 nights a week. That was my church. It was my religion. Whenever I was 16, I had OD'd in my room. I was too scared to call 911 because I didn't want to go to jail. And I was too scared to tell my parents that I was ODing on drugs in my room. And so I just grabbed my poetry book and I started writing, "Take me to the place by the bay where I will stay if that is okay." 18 came along and I got arrested for the very first time. 6 months into my probation, I got arrested again. I had a court-appointed lawyer that actually really cared about me, and she fought for me and got me in rehab, in an all-women's rehab facility for 3 months instead of going to jail for 2 years. The people there said that if we were on good behavior, that we could take a walk down to the park. The entrance to the park, it was like an archway. Above the archway, there was a sign that said, "By the bay." Immediately, the Lord brought up in my remembrance of that poem, and he was answering that prayer to the T. I knew in my heart that I wanted more from life, but I didn't really know how to go about that. And towards the end of the 3 months, I was honestly terrified to leave rehab because I was scared of the world. Literally, the first day that I got out of rehab, I had people calling me, asking me if I wanted to get high with them to celebrate the fact that I was leaving rehab. Fell back into those old habits, maybe not as bad with harder drugs, but I turned to drinking. On average, 7 to 10 shots and 4 to 5 beers in a couple of hours. I started getting so sick. I would be throwing up, vomiting. I would dread it, but I couldn't stop. Right before Halloween time, me and a group of friends had decided to dress up, and we went to a club, and I was very intoxicated. These people had come up to me, and they said that they were going to go buy me a drink. And so she hands me this drink, and then 15 minutes later, literally it hit me so hard. The next morning, I woke up and I didn't know where I was. My mom ended up having to come and pick me up later that day because I couldn't drive. I just didn't want to live anymore. Like, I didn't have anything to live for. That next morning, my mom walks into my room and she invited me to go to church with her. And so I went to church that day, and he was talking about how he was saved from cocaine addiction at 22 years old. And I thought to myself, my pastor used to do cocaine, you know? And I was shocked. All of a sudden, it was like Jesus just turned on the light. I prayed that prayer of salvation, and I said yes to Jesus. All of the weight and all of the sadness and all of the depression just lifted off of me, and I literally felt lighter. I started serving in several ministries. I was reading in Exodus 15, and I jumped down to verse 20, and it says that then Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took up her timbrels and led the ladies in song and dance. I just remember pausing and just stopping and looking up and saying, "Are you telling me to start a dance ministry? What is it called?" And it was just boom, immediately, Heart of Dance. I had laid down dancing for many years after I got saved because it was very triggering at times for me, and it would kind of bring me back into these places that were uncomfortable. God brought me through a process of healing and repackaged dancing and gave it back to me in a whole brand new way that was even better than before. It is a ministry that focuses on evangelism to club kids. We share the gospel with them and show them how to dance and have fun without drugs. If there is someone out there that doesn't know Jesus, he is the cure and the answer to loneliness and to depression. I definitely think that God can do exactly what he did for me for anyone.